And we are live. Welcome to the Renegade podcast. I'm your host, Dashing Rogue, and I'm with my frequent sidekick, Artistic Layman.
Nothing's even than the top hat lounge. Come gather all around. See them rain their fire down.
What is that from? What is that from, Luke?
Both music and sound are from the pilot of Lackadaisy.
I have never seen Lackadaisy.
Oh, you should. You must.
That would be interesting. What is it, if you could tell me?
It's based on a web comic, and the premise is Prohibition era, but everyone's a cats person.
Oh, that sounds amazing. That sounds they're gonna play. I can think of all the freaking puns I could make. There's a new cat in town. Jeez, that would be amazing.
Oh, but my favorite character is, of course, Mordecai Heller, who's basically the main antagonist's right-hand man. And the voice acting from Chow is just amazing. Here's a...
Connect me. The vehicle has been disabled. On the whole, the evening has not gone.
Oh, I love him.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I actually might look into that. Hey, Vinny, he says, long week, buddy. Going to pass out. That's fine by me. Go right ahead. Pass out. Because, I've had a long week myself. So, as all know, I was working at basically had a humbling experience of working at a liquor store, right?
Oh, blue collar work now.
I did blue collar work for the longest time, and now I'm back into the white collar. Because let's be frank, $15 an hour is not nothing. I really should be paid more, obviously, because of inflation and things such as that. But everyone should be paid more in that regard. They just couldn't do it. But it's interesting because I found this new job, and it's right across the street of this Goodwill that I found it was a Star Wars vintage action figure from Return of the Jedi from, I think it was Han Solo, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I needed I needed money for that month because I needed to be able to get my oil changed. Well, guess what? This is the same Goodwill. And it's right across the street. It's almost like God's. I won't say God, but like basically God's showing me the rainbow without the rainbow. If that makes any sense. It's very nice because I'm making $28 an hour now. That's you.
Oh yeah,
what?
And speaking of which, how are you enjoying our wonderful our veneration of our wonderful week of the month of the rainbow?
What's interesting is that this is the first month that they did it one day, and then apparently even Xbox is they had the rainbows and all the other crap Pride Month, but then they also had the next day they had fire and brimstone all over the Xbox controller logo. Mm-hmm. I'm not joking. No one cares about gay marketing anymore. Like when it first came out, let's say Budweiser or whoever the fuck it might have been, first came out with the LGBT, WXYZ, and the silent Q symbols for their cans. I bought them. You know why? Not because I support gay pride, but because I was under the impression that shit was going to be a one and done deal, right?
Mm-hmm. So
I was gonna be able to buy one can of Budweiser that I'd never drink because it's Budweiser, and then eventually put it in storage and say, hey, look, guys, do you remember when this happened? And then it'd be seen as memorabilia or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about the SJWs, and this is sort of an issue, there it is, Demon, Monsters of the Id. We're going to talk about some Monsters of the Id.
I guess it's kind of interesting. This year is very interesting because, Carlin and have been worried about the people and having a negative reaction, but this assumption, this image on here, is the implicit assumption that everyone's pretty much holding right now. Yeah, this is stupid. Yeah, we don't care. We're not going to give you the benefit of our reaction.
So, have you heard of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence?
I have. More than I'd like to.
What do you know about them?
Basically, they're a trans gay organization that parades themselves. They're a cross-dressing organization who's best known by taking all the iconography of Catholicism and incorporating it into their drag performance.
They're basically heretics. And they're heretics not only in like the religious way of, let's say, Catholicism, but also they basically look like something that a Slannesh demon, let's just say.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take a picture?
They all do though, but that's not the point.
Well, they look like demons of Slannesh. I'm not even kidding. It's freaking weird. They look like, just to give some context. Let me see if I can find it here.
A good picture of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a good picture as well.
Just any of them will do, honestly. Like, this might be the most wholesome one I can find right off the bat here.
Oh boy, what is it?
They look like Queen.
Oh no! Could you show me it on Discord? By the way, I have a Discord. You can all join in anytime you want.
Let me turn that on for you then.
Yep. Thank you. Boop, 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 boop.
Boop, 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 boop. There we go.
There we go. Yeah, those things. Whatever the hell these things are, they look. I mean, some of them look fairly okay. Like, they look more like they're wearing porcelain skin or something like that, like something from the Orient.
Yeah.
But like a geisha almost.
You know what this greatly reminds me of? I once knew somebody who I met years ago. I met someone who actually worked in the pornography industry. I mean, unfortunately, years later, he turns out he got himself killed with an incident with cops. But that's not the point. He actually sent videos to also get a negative reaction of me of people doing this stuff with Catholicism imagery, but with explicitly sexual context, like explicitly pornographic context. And that's what this is trying to be. This is what this is, but more acceptable in the public kind of thing.
Yeah, well, let me just say this. When this shit becomes accepted in the mainstream, you get to have a hell world. And we have a hell world, which is something that we're very close to becoming a hell world in the 40K sense, because the 40K sense, once there's a chaos incursion, oh yeah, those things. The Norvis Ordo. A chaos incursion. That's what's happening. We have a chaos incursion. We have look at the wearing the Slashy colors, guys. Like, they're wearing the Slanneshi colors. Purple and freaking, pink. That's what Slannesh uses. That's his colors. Or its colors, I guess. I don't know what he's every pronoun at all times. And it's sad as fuck for this to happen. It really is sad. But the cool thing is that we kind of are right. Like, I would say in the story arc right now, Luke, when it comes to, we're probably getting into Shadows of the Empire territory.
You know what this actually reminds me of?
What?
It reminds me of this. If I could play it properly.
Play it.
Oh, no, unmute site. Unmute. Oh, but basically it's the scene from Half-Life where someone says, I never thought I'd see a resonance cascade, let alone create one.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, these guys are Norvis Ordo, obviously. I mean, some of those guys are guys. And again, this is the thing that kind of pisses people off, is that the Christians are voting with their wallet now, right? We are, because I'll be frank with you, they're not producing good products. They're not making good video games. I mean, some of these
and they're latching themselves off to things that people shouldn't be buying anyway. I mean, but let's co-op Bud Light. Like, yeah, I don't care.
No, like, let me just say this: the people who drink Bud Light, or Budweiser for that matter, there's a certain demographic. It's working class dads who just want to drink and get buzzed. That's what it is. It's working class people. When I was working at the liquor store, there was a guy who bought 2 tall can Bud Lights and 2 whip shots every night. I'm not going to say his name, but I can remember the customers, let's say, which I guess is some valuable information. But he didn't care. He didn't give a damn about the Dylan Mulvaney thing. I don't give a damn about the Dylan Mulvaney thing. In fact, I think that the Dylan Mulvaney thing is is honestly just it's a way it's exploitation marketing. Like, Dylan Mulvaney was not ever a part of the whole Anheuser-Busch thing. He wasn't sponsored. He was just given like a promotional freaking a face. Like, again, it's not just me, but everyone thought it was a Wheatie box. Everybody thought this whole Dylan Mulvaney thing was like the Wheatie box. They were going to have his face everywhere. Its face everywhere. It's disgusting. That nose.
And there is a question of how this is going to play out because what's interesting about the indulgence stuff? It's like it's such a banal thing that the whole marketing is the response, which is actually kind of in the feature. Like that one clip I showed you about the guy reviewing the Ghostbusters Women's of Ghostbusters. It's not the action itself; it's the reaction that's the most publicity, and that's what's not happening right now.
Yeah, we're not reacting to this. We're just not gonna. We're not gonna do business with you.
Yeah, like we look at this, go, yeah. You guys are a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah, they are. They absolutely are. One such weirdo. If I can find it here. Let's give you an idea of what's in the fucking in the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Because I'll be frank with you, this is Slannesh shit. They actually have they have a website.
See if I can put this on here. Oh, the website. Oh, let's see if I can get this on here.
They're all wearing whiteface, which is incredibly disturbing.
But why white of all things? Is it just like creepy, or just like is it supposed to be like the geishas?
I guess it's like geisha. Like I was joking about the whole geisha thing, but I think it has to do with the fact that they're so white that they're basically pasty, so therefore they don't do any work. And that's sort of the thing.
Nice moving background, though. I like their web designer.
Well, the web designer is kind of a dick, honestly.
Well, the background is beautiful, but the text is very straightforward and simple.
I don't know. So, Sister Olana B. Demonic. So let's see, 1999. Her occupation is a union sex worker. He is
a sex worker.
He is a gigolo. He's like Rob Schneider, except the Rob Schneider in Hollywood, not actual Rob Schneider, who's actually conservative, by the way. Hometown. When did you start discover your calling? Age 15. Yep, that's what we're dealing with. People who think that they're the people who become paleontologists because they saw Jurassic Park one time when they were like 4. That's what we're dealing with. Okay. Sponsors of the order. We don't really care about Penny Lane or Penny Coastal. Who the fuck that is? Why did you join the order? I hate homophobia and I love indulgence. Getting funding to worthy organizations is a beautiful thing. I want to make a positive difference in the world, and I want to look fabulous while doing it. By the way, I'm not going to do the whole chat. Just let me know if you want me to do the voice acting, okay? Because I don't know. I don't want to get too deep into character. I don't want to become possessed by Slannesh. All right. Oh, religious beliefs, by the way. Oh, Satanist, member of Church of Satan. Oh, okay. Okay.
No surprise
there. Usual suspects, LHBs, fucking mow them down. Let's see. Major projects within the order. Board of Directors, 2001, which, let's be frank with ourselves, it probably was betterly managed under them, because now they have a bunch of crazy SJW borderlines running the whole thing. I don't know. Let's see, 2000 Wig Drive, American Cancer. Oh, so they basically made pussy hats for fucking cancer patients. Growing aspirations, create art, facilitate art, and make a positive difference in my life. Rules to which I live by. What?
I mean, just look at the face paint here. I mean, this guy is dressed like a like a cartoonish supervillain.
Well, when you idolize the main villain of God's story, and you're probably going to idolize villains. Mm-hmm. Just saying. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I keep being reminded of freaking Slannesh. I really do. Like, I don't know what it is with the fucking colors. It's weird. Like, you would think that they'd be maybe have all the colors of the rainbow because of their namesake, but no, it's like purple, pink, and fucking white.
Yeah, Tick History actually did a review of Nazi propaganda, and he knows that the Jews were always associated with purple and green colors. So of all the things they could psychologically use, they use the ones that are most associated with evil and disgust. Which,
well,
actually,
no, not even.
That's probably
Not even. I mean, you could very well argue that purple is royalty, right? Mm-hmm. And pink, I'm not entirely certain what pink is associated with femininity, I guess. So like princess pink, kind of. And they have white, so fairness, right? Like they're fair or some shit like that. But that's actually a very interesting point that you brought up because Tick did notice that, and you would never notice that unless you were like actually going into like an art background and examining the stuff. But yeah, apparently, the Nazis, when they're posters, they had a very specific way of them wanting to propagate their notions about the world. It should be treated the same way here.
Here it is.
Right? Uh-oh, what's this?
The illustrations of how Nazi propaganda look.
Oh God! Like, oh boy! There we go.
And what's really funny is like you notice a lot of Marx, like there's a strong overlap between Nazi propaganda and Marxist propaganda because they're kind of the same inspiration.
Luke, we're gonna get kicked off of YouTube.
There it is. Here it is.
Oh no! Oh no!
Like even the priest is like baptism a Gentile didn't make a Gentile out of them, and even the priest is like associated with the disgusting colors of purple, a disgusting version of purple. Oh, here it is.
Oh boy, what is this? The poisonous mushroom. Here, kids, I have a candy for you, but you both come here with me.
You have to come with me.
But you have to come with me, huh?
Yeah, the boys and the girl have very healthy looking skin. The Jew has very green, ugly skin.
The Jew. It's the Platonic Jew, isn't it? I don't know.
Particular Jew, this particular illustration.
Take that shit off, Luke. Again, I don't want to piss off.
But they choose this. They choose this.
Yeah, well, they choose it. They do. But at the same time, we have to remember the map is not the territory, is it? The words are not necessarily the thing with these people. But because and therefore you can't argue with them. They just have to go. You have to, as brutal as simple as it might be, they have to go. And the best way we're doing it right now, and the fact we're winning this, I said before, we're in the shadows of the Empire sort of arc where Luke Skywalker basically had an encounter with Darth Vader of some way or another, and now we're basically, in the shadows of the Empire when the Empire's going to mercenaries and stuff like that. That's where we're at, like the darkest part of the height of the Empire, or I guess the regime, if people would really want to call it that. Let's see what else we got. Okay, this is actually something that I gotta ask the question: is this person a Fed that we're talking about, or like some disinformation agent? This is from Joker, I believe, The Better Bachelor. But I really wanted to point out this as way too on the nose, and at the same time, it sounds so on the nose, like generic, that it sounds like a ChatGPT bot wrote it. Now, what is this about? This is about a woman who is basically teaching other women how to demasculate men to lower their testosterone levels, so she can control them, so to speak. So I want to say right about, let's go to 1 minute and 30 seconds in.
Minute?
Yeah, a minute and 30 seconds.
All right.
I'm an independent journalist. DM me about my remineralizing toothpaste. She's got 66,000 followers, and this post that she made got 32,000 likes. Now, as always, I'll say this. Please do not go out and give these people a hard time.
Yeah, don't fuck with them. Even I actually rather hit on her before I would actually physically hit on her. Just saying. What? I'd ask her out for a cup of coffee. I don't care if she's basically a succubi trying to lower my fucking testosterone.
But that's how they trick you. That's gotta be careful.
Well, that's why you don't have sex until marriage, and she quite literally is a keeper. Let's just say. All right, let's keep going.
No matter how stupid it is. But I am going to warn guys, because it's not just the fact that she made this post. She's just one person on the internet with pretty bad takes. It's that 32,000 other women like this, and 8,000 people have bookmarked it, including myself, because I wanted to remind myself to talk about this video. So I did a roll-up of the video, which is, you can tell Twitter to roll it up into one thread and called Thread Reader. I'm going to read this. But it just tells you that women will sabotage a man, and they will do harm to him, and they will mess with him.
Implying it's a woman. No, like we have to actually play that card. Or we could at the same...
I mean, it's safe to assume that.
Well, it's safe to assume that, but if you look into this woman's background, you can find some very interesting things. So keep an eye on this, all right? Keep an eye on what she's saying, and I'm going to look deeper into her background. Go on.
Him, to keep him, or to change him, or to modify him. And it's something to really be afraid of and aware of. I'm going to read into this, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Marie says, how to lower your boyfriend's testosterone, a thread. Everyone wants to lock down a high T man. They're more attractive and more fun. Unfortunately, once you have them, you are constantly worried that their high levels of T will cause them to do something crazy or to cheat on you. That's why you have to manipulate his hormones. Now, let me just ask you guys.
Oh my God, Pharmakia! This bitch is a witch. This woman is a witch. She's trying to manipulate a guy's chemical hormones to try to basically make them stay with her. She like, why don't you just let us fuck you whatever we want?
I mean, she's
like,
she's like an abusive mother who makes her children fat to keep them from leaving.
Yeah, and to give you an idea, this is the same type of person we're dealing with. Here is her YouTube profile. Or not her YouTube profile, but I want to just give an idea about this one because I think
everyone's oh yeah, I see this. I have the thread here.
Yeah. So here you go. No, this is her YouTube profile.
Her YouTube profile.
Yeah, she apparently reviews cigarettes. Now, I don't know. No, this is actually very interesting because if you look at her, she's Eastern European, right? So those Eastern Europeans love their fucking smokes. So this is the type of shit that actually would not fly anywhere else except actual Europe, place where people don't give a fuck.
Oh, let's see what Sheila sounds like.
Hey guys, Pasty here. So I'm actually in Lisbon right now, Lisbon, Portugal. It's very hilly here, reminds me a little bit.
Well, she sounds very kind of American.
I don't know about that, but keep going.
San Francisco. So I have a very special cigarette for you today. I got this cigarette. It is in Marlboro Gold, but I am a little concerned about it because I did get it from some Romanians, and I know that they got the cigarette in Romania, and I don't know if they have knockoff cigarettes there or what's going on in Romania, but I'm still gonna try it.
Spiked with fucking LSD.
Are we allowed to show this?
Are we allowed to show it? Well, this is the type of person you're dealing with, right? So there are other things she has and to go along with. She has an Instagram, which again she just uses her filters and crap. Right. She has her remineralizing toothpaste recipe, and that's the type of person we're dealing with. Then she has a subreddit of all things. I guess she's some sort of world traveler or some sort. Oh, yeah, here we go. Remove children from parents at birth. Oh boy, what are we dealing with here?
What was that?
This is here you go. I'll just paste it to you. This is just gives you an idea of what we're dealing with. Remove children from parents at birth. It seems today that great problems all stem from one's parents and their individual neuroticisms. Only one of which being poor dental care. By the time a child has a chance to learn about the care for their own affairs, they are likely to probably scared for life and will change and with changes of being butt ugly and stupid too, huh? Oh boy. Continue reading, Luke, the second part.
This creates a lottery system whereby children succumb to the various crazes of the I know that wields them and the do it. I propose that all future children are removed from their parents at birth and at some point sooner. Has this girl read the
Brave New World?
No, not Brave New World. The one where they can't see in color. The Giver. The Giver.
The Giver?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen The Giver.
Their civilization, it's a dystopian future. They can't because you don't know this right away, but they can't see in color. But when a child is born, they're not raised by their parents. The mother just give birth, and they're given to like a assigned couple, a properly assigned couple.
Oh, all right.
So there's no biological connection from the parents and the children, and everyone just raised the children as their proper members of society.
Right. So, what? I don't know. To me, when I think of test tube babies, I immediately think Huxley's Brave New World. I don't know. But go back to Joker's video, because it's very interesting. This woman is not stupid. So part of me thinks she's just a shock talker who wants attention and probably cigarettes, because let's be frank, that's the type of person you're dealing with.
Guys, here's a way to manipulate your woman's hormones to make sure that she doesn't go out and cheat on you and she stays a loyal girlfriend. Don't you think I'd be on the cover of probably a dozen magazines as the worst human being to ever exist?
Oh, you would probably be in jail. Like, I'm not kidding when I say, like people joke, like that one movie, John Tucker Must Die, I think it was. It was some sort of like chick flick back in the day. I just remember it, but I had a friend who told me about it, and apparently that they were like trying to inject hormones, like they were like actually giving the guy estrogen to fuck with him. Like they were actually like dumping estrogen pills in like a sports drink. That shit will get you. You can kill someone that way. You can literally like cause damageable harm to someone. So this woman's like talking about methodically doing it. You have to keep in mind she's not just trying to inject fucking like something extra into the mother's milk or cookies, right? That she's making for you. She's not like one of those people who are just injecting drugs and crap into your like, muffins. This is actually methodical. Keep going.
Oh, this reminds me of a book. How to quote by Karen Salzman.
Of course, it's a Karen.
How to make your man behave in 21 days or less using the secrets of professional dog trainers. Oh, so this is a new variation of that, isn't it? To see men as animals that must be controlled.
I personally think that the witches want their barbarians. That's what they want. The witches want their barbarians. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. I mean, you're dealing with pagans, and most pagan men are just shit, uneducated. Well, they weren't even. I mean, I talk about the Greeks, but like this would be somebody who would be considered a Greek. She's very like this is a type of philosopher shit, but it's like pagan philosophy. Keep going.
I was just interested in reading the reviews. It doesn't live up to the title, but then what could? Some clever bits and great artwork. Just replace the word man with the title woman. See how many women. Yeah, it's double standard there.
Yeah.
But there was a positive. This was hilarious. I loved it. So is it supposed to be taking because I wonder is like this just like the whole women of perpetual things of perpetual indulgence. Is this like a joke just to get reaction out of people?
Maybe. I honestly think that because this woman claims to be an independent journalist. What the fuck that means on her Twitter profile.
But
keep going.
But obviously she needs to be condemned as a monster. But yeah, here we go.
Oh yeah, she's a sucky $5 bus.
So I would. But here she's cheered on by 32,000 other women. She says, first thing you have to work on is his career. He probably does something for work that requires him to be on his feet or use his body in some way. You need to nip that in the bud. Slowly convince him to take a coding job. Make connections in the field so it's easy for him. Whatever you do, ensure that his income is dependent on him spending 8 to 10 hours a day, sedentary, and staring at a screen. Make sure he works for a very large and important company that tries to get a lot of work out of him and controls his time. When they're not controlling his time, you have to. Plan all events and activities in advance. Ask him for favors and give him projects to do. Now, doesn't this sound like she's talking to a puppy dog? Telling
it does.
Here's how you train your puppy.
It does.
Yep, like we said.
It does.
Perfect timing.
It sounds like we're talking to like a mental institution, or like we're gonna control every part of your day. Where you're gonna get up, you're gonna take your medication like a good little boy. You're gonna go to the mental psych ward school. And when you're done with the psych ward school, you're gonna have lunch, and then after that, you're gonna go make your bed and all the other shit, and it just goes on and on and on and on. It's very very specific and very detailed. But it gets worse. Luke, keep going.
Oh, can it?
Oh yeah.
Here's how you train your man to make sure he behaves. He speaks only when spoken to. He lays down when you tell him, and don't take him out.
Isn't the reverse of this the Sanford Sisters? Stepford Wives,
yeah. We need to remake that shit because people never remember the purpose of that film.
That's way too edgy. I mean, it would be ripped on by us, but also like I wonder how could you make it today? Like it's like one of those movies.
Well, they already remade it with Nicole Kidman, if you remember that.
Well, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, but that one had have you seen that one? It has a gay guy in it. You know that, right?
What? Which character was that?
It was a gay guy. It was a gay couple in Stepford.
Oh, huh.
Yeah. So like, he was affected too. So they were trying to. So the idea that we kind of should watch it, shouldn't we? I mean, I remember it has Christopher Walken in it,
and John Lovitz. He's fun.
Oh yeah, John Lovitz, the guy from Super Mario Bros. Oh, not just Super Mario. War Games.
And the main character, the husband of the main character, he's Neil Brockman. What's his name?
The guy. It's Ferris Bueller. It's Ferris Bueller. Just say Ferris Bueller.
Bueller. Yeah, that's him.
Bueller. That's him. Let's just keep going.
Too many walks because you might be athletic enough to run away. Keep him chained in the basement. That's literally what this sounds like. slowly and without him noticing, take over his time. Make sure his brain is lazy and he becomes complacent on your lists and planning. Anytime he has an idea of his own or wants to do something, counteract it with something cozy. He wants to go to the gym, get sexy and ask him to stay home with you.
Oh, this is the complete inverse of a play I remember or a script and play I watched in college called The Shape of Things, where a girl, it's a big reveal at the end that this girl that this nerdy guy associated with, who's getting more and more handsome, more and more attractive, she's been manipulating him as an artwork project for herself.
Oh, that's sick. That's like non-our teen movie levels of cruelty.
But her name of her art display when she shows everything, it's entered in by a quotation on the wall that says, "Moralists have no place in an art museum."
Oh, moralists, huh? We're gonna get to that. Just like Pearson is having like no like.
At least she admits she's amoral, but it was really
horrible. Well, yeah, but like but Jordan Peterson's now like clown posting on Twitter constantly. Yeah, like I'm not even kidding. It's like he's talking about the moralists. He doesn't understand that this is culture war. Morality is relative. Your morality, like you have to impose it on the world. That's just the way it goes. And the problem here is these people are fucking imposing their morality on the world, and they're quite good at it too. For example, keep going.
Host boys' night with his friends where they drink, or host boys' night with his friends where they drink estrogenic beer together and watch sports. Now, what's ironic is this is actually a thing. If you are a big beer drinker, it has been shown to lower testosterone levels. So I don't think this is sarcasm. It sounds like she really has looked into this and has some idea of what she's talking about, which is quite frightening, to be honest with you. Get really into video games and play them with him. Encourage his video game habit any way you can.
Oh, that's awful. Oh, that's just so horrible.
It really does come off like this woman is just making shit up, and she's just like she typed in chat GPT, said, "How do I lower my boyfriend's testosterone?"
Oh, it actually reminds me of that joke about this woman who was so concerned about real dolls and artificial intelligence robots, or even something else, and there's a picture of her and her boyfriend. Her boyfriend looks very average and normal. It's like, yeah, she's just one step away from him. She's just scared to death that her boyfriend's gonna leave him for a robot. I mean, she's not too ugly, but she's just average, so she could easily see how, he's gonna leave me for a robot.
Ah, Christ. She even has an eating channel. Let me take a look at
money
this.
On gaming devices, and also buy things for you, so he will always need to earn, never be able to break free of the corporate grind. Make sure he spends a lot of money on and eats a lot of food, especially food from restaurants and anything maximally processed.
We have gone full circle. It went from the accusation that men are controlling women to women must control men.
Yep.
Oh, this is amazing.
Stay away from fruit, vegetables, and meat. This really blows me away. Like, she's put some serious thought into this. Tell him you love dad bods. Rub his belly and give him tons of compliments so he doesn't get insecure about his body.
Oh, we need to find a woman that has reviewed this. We need to find someone who's like laughing at this.
Oh my God. Like, honestly, this is very, I want to say it's fake, but at the same time, I think she's doing it for clicks, because the response comes out in such a way that you could very well take these prompts from ChatGPT, because I feel like this is ChatGPT. I feel like she literally typed in and said, "How do I lower my boyfriend's testosterone?" And then ChatGPT spews out like a bunch of facts and crap like that, laying it on like he's fucking Andrew Dice Clay telling this thought how to actually, cuck her boyfriend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, how much this guy Joker, right? It never crosses his mind that could all be bullshit and fake, and she's just doing it for attention. Because let's be frank, I'm looking at this chick, I'm like, I want to fuck the brains out of her. I mean, like, she is quite literally that fucking upper middle class liberal bitch that you all know who are the one I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, these people make the same thing about AOC back in the day.
well, back in the day, I think they still do it. I think, like, did they like last year just talk about her ass? Right? Like, she was talking about her ass. I mean, look at this one right here. Just look at that.
What is this?
I don't. This is her going to Barcelona.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah.
Hey guys, Pasty here. So So right now I'm right outside of La Sagrada Familia, which is a very famous Catholic church here in Barcelona that was created by Gaudi, and it's still in construction because they're still building it. Personally, I think that they could have finished it years ago, and they just want to flex the fact that they have like 2 cranes up there, and they think that it looks cool, and that's why they're still working.
That's such a blonde girl thing to say.
This like she's such a thought, and I'm thinking this girl has to be from like I want to say she's from Russia or something because she does look like she's Slavic at least. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does.
She does. So she's integrated and she's coming back to her roots, if that makes sense, of being a fucking whore. I don't know. Keep going.
I mean, I guess she thinks America has no culture, and so she has to compensate into Europe or something.
That's I don't know. Keep
That's
going.
my theory.
Still working on constructing it. Anyway, as you guys know, I am traveling around Europe, and I have fallen on some tough times. Don't have that much money, so I have been getting money from strangers. So I'm kind of just been sitting here, and the tourists have been.
Well, this woman's a con artist. Holy shit.
She's
Holy shit. She's a woman like you could probably make $100 on OnlyFans an hour. Like.
Well, that's not respectable. I mean, at least this is more respectable than what the not thoughts do.
I don't know. Part of me thinks I'll give you $1,000 capital if you let me fuck you. There you go. There you go. $1,000 like that.
You shouldn't say things like that.
Well, she's on the streets. And I guess you're right. You shouldn't take a woman of the streets into the bed.
Oh no.
Oh, poor thing could use a shower though.
Money. Like I just sort of look up at them like kind of sadly so that they'll understand my condition, and then they kind of just like give me money. But what I didn't know is that
you're on candid camera.
Actually, I got I think like €8 today, and what I didn't know is that euros actually are like you can tell what country each euro is from if you look at it. So I found out that this kind of euro with the eagle on it, is from Germany.
German.
Wonderful.
And part of me thinks that part of me thinks that somebody oversaw her basically saying, "Look, I'm on hard times, and like you have a cell phone. Sell your fucking phone. Sell that necklace. That's the type of person we're dealing with." So again, is she trolling you for attention, or is she actually this stupid? Keep going.
Just like having, just relying on the generosity of strangers, and
come on.
tough time.
Yeah, every homeless person does that.
You've always looked forward to the kindness of strangers. Okay.
What plays that from?
She's a streetcar named Desire, I think it's called. This woman is not good at what she does, but there are people who do better. Give me 1 second. Let's see if how much we got of the chat. Oh, we got five people here. That's not that bad. It's not half bad. It's better than before. Let's see. Okay, so the TradCat Retirement Plan. So remember that girl I told you about, the thought that was basically if we can pull it up here, see if I still have it. I actually, cool thing about having friends that you don't really talk to a lot is that sometimes these fucking people, you could link information to them, and they will sometimes be a archival footage if that makes any sense. Here we go. Let's see. Is it? Okay, here we go. So you remember this woman right here?
Which woman is that? Kind of. What was she about?
She was a so-called OnlyFans thought that basically says, "Now I found Jesus," and she's posting all this "I love Jesus" and stuff like that. And I'm like, I met someone new and he loves Jesus, and I'm like, okay. And then at the same time, you get that juxtaposed with shit like this. Now I don't know much. I don't know if it's just she's dumb and she doesn't know any better, but you should probably keep this shit secret. For Jesus I did drugs. I started smoking weed at age 12, drinking at age 14. By the time I was 16, I was doing hard drugs. I did LSD, shrooms, ecstasy, Molly, cocaine, Adderall. Adderall's not a drug. Shut up. And even DMT. I was addicted for years. You don't look like you're addicted for years. You don't look that way. What you look like is somebody who's attention seeking. And again, a lot of these women who are born again, they're just not. I will say they're not born again. I do believe that they claim to be, exactly. And I think that there should be a segregation of these people away from the flock.
But you can't really figure that. There's no way to measure that.
No, but social media is a good start. I mean, if you were posting shit like this, like being histrionic and crap, I mean, why do you still have those photos? Why would you put that shit out there on the internet? Your boss, your employer, your fucking husband could see that shit. There's no incentive to you're going to do it for Jesus? Oh, okay. So then that means that she's banking on the Jesus card. And she was saying she was doing OnlyFans and now she found Jesus. I'm like, get the fuck out. I don't think you are.
Love now the strongest drug of all. What about fornication? You don't mention that as well, or you don't engage in it. It has been set me free for a long time.
Well, she's actually replying to some of these clips. What did she say?
It has set me free from long list of sins. This is just one of them.
Right.
Right. So I guess specifics just for the sake of brevity, or the sake of or as your case, sake of omission.
Yeah, I do not trust this woman whatsoever. I really do not trust the TradCats. I don't trust them whatsoever because they have the most stupidest takes. See if I can pull this one up for you. So I actually had not only a conversation, but I commented on little Brittany Pettibone, and yeah, I'll be Brittany Pettibone and won't be Brittany Sellner no matter how hard they try. It just won't happen because she'll always be the Petty Bone because it sounds better. So this was something she posted that I think is just ridiculous. The fact I'm wondering, did she actually believe this guy when she said it, or is she just stupid and fucking naive? So, interview with Ted Bundy, in which he states that his addiction to hardcore pornography is what motivated him to harm women. Hardcore pornography? No, he just used that as an excuse. He really is. He further admitted that without exception, all the other men he knew in prison who committed violence against women had the same addiction. Well, how many of them actually committed violence against human beings as well? Like, was it specifically women, or was it they hit a woman and then they hit a guy and then they killed a guy out of necessity, let's say. So play it, Luke, from the beginning. Now tell me if you think she actually believes this. Go.
Just
can't hear it.
An interview with a man who's scheduled to die tomorrow morning. I'm here and you're here because of this message that you're talking about right here. You don't really feel that hardcore pornography and the doorway to it, softcore pornography, is doing untold damage to other people and causing other women to be abused and killed the way you did.
Listen, I'm no social scientist, and I haven't done a survey. I mean, I don't pretend that I know what John Q. Citizen thinks about this. But I've lived in prison for a long time now, and I've met a lot of men who were motivated to commit violence just like me. And without exception, every one of them was deeply involved in pornography, without question, without exception, deeply influenced and consumed by an addiction to pornography. There's no question about it. The FBI's own study on serial homicide shows that the most
But I thought you didn't know any study, though. Didn't he say he didn't know anything about any study or survey?
Well,
he's now citing.
And studies are not necessarily the same thing.
Right. Well, I don't know. I don't know, Luke. That's a bit weird. Keep going.
But there is the question: are these people all have pornography addiction? Did their pornography addiction lead them to their violence or lives, or is this just the result? Is pornography addiction just a byproduct of being a violent person?
Who's BAMP, by the way, Gameston? I don't know who BAMP is. Warned us about the fake traddy girl feminist grifters. There are. I don't trust any of them. Like, I legitimately don't like these people. And the more they try to look like a 1950s housewife, the more I don't trust them. Because that's just a fucking caricature, you know? Because if you're going to have the 1950s housewife, you're still going to have the Addams family down the road. And speaking of the Addams family, Luke, I noticed that there's this I think I talked about last time. There's this trend that I've noticed that we no longer have Barbie and Ken, or, you know, I would say Barbie and Ken or Link and Zelda. Now we have Morticia and Gomez, along with how should you say it? What the hell's his name? Bonnie and Clyde. I've noticed that archetype pop up a hell of a lot more in relationships nowadays. Bronze Age pervert.
Well, what's funny though is like the character of Gomez and Morticia. I noticed that too, but Gomez and Morticia are basically like the whole Addams family is a parody of the family sitcom, and so it's an exaggeration or at least a joke about how safe TV and fictional families are. And so when you see Gomez kissing Morticia all the time, it's like. And the thing is, I understand that attraction because it's like, oh, I want that. Like some people like, oh, I want that kind of affection and honesty among people.
Yeah, but they're not role models. I mean, even Bonnie and Clyde. I joke about how I like to have Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, Bonnie and Clyde are not they're self-destructive people, and they feed off of each other.
Well, Gomez is a fucking man-child, dude. Gomez is like
which version?
I like the original. Let's just stick with the original. I know that, like, I have not seen enough of Raul Julia's Gomez, admittedly, sadly. I know, sue me. I prefer the original 1960s because I actually had some. Let's just say that Morticia is better. Okay, she looked way bit more cute. She actually looked like presentable. Okay, let's see what else we got here. I'm gonna get some more things going here for you guys. Okay, here we go. Here, let's clean up the heretics. So this,
let me get it on real quick.
So as much as I like to bash, oh boy,
there they are. Aren't they just wholesome folks?
Nice. There we go. Yeah. Carlin Jones, she's actually quite attractive. I like that one. John Aniston. Yeah, he. You're gonna get me freaking flagged, probably.
Oh, don't worry, I'm not using sound. All good. It should be. Good.
Well, you know, I hate to be the guy that says this, but we didn't use sound before with the freaking what the hell was his name? It was a Gigantor, I believe. Like it was that. The Japanese are copyright Nazis. I think they've learned that from World War II. Mm-hmm. Okay, they haven't learned much from that World War II, but they could damn well they could defend their copyright because they know the one. Well, just look up Nintendo's Hollywood, Nintendo versus Universal Studios, and you'll understand why the Japs are so damn hell bent on enforcing their copyright image. That'll tell you in a nutshell. But going back to what I was saying, this heretic. There you go, Luke.
Which heretic?
Right here.
What's this?
This is
Newark Cardinals ask Americans to volunteer for rights to guns. What?
So basically, a cardinal of the church of the Catholic Church has said you need to give up your guns. Why? You need to give up your gun because he wants to be a good little boy. He wants us to be good little choir boys, don't you know? Shit like this is what makes me think, like, what the hell did I sign up for when I joined the Catholic Church? Shit like this pisses me off, and I'm not going to defect because I don't defect, but I definitely am. This is really disgusting, to be honest with you. Let's see where we got here.
This is a good default right here.
You want peace? Then let's ban all weapons so we don't have to live in fear of war.
Wait, you tweeted that?
Totally.
Why?
Because, dude, like, war is bad, man. Do you even know why war is bad?
Because people die?
Well, lucky guess.
Well, lucky guess, yeah. But here's the thing. Even Christ said, if you do not own a sword, sell your cloak and buy one. I'm doing that. I'm living on the edge.
Oh, but it goes further. It goes further. Here we go.
Where's bad people?
Agree to disagree, Edgar Allan, bro. We need to ban all weapons.
Well, here's the problem, Hope Menno Simmons I. You're not just disagreeing with me here, you're disagreeing with the church you lead. You see, the Catechism of the Catholic Church states, as long as the danger of war persists and there is no international authority with the necessary competence and power, governments cannot be denied the right of lawful self-defense once all peace efforts have fail. So, by urging for a worldwide ban of nukes, bunker busters, semi-automatics, machetes, and, I presume, Captain Caveman clubs, you're effectively rejecting official church teaching on just war theory.
Yep, that's exactly what that is. Now, listen to the article here, Luke.
Oh, what's this?
There you
Listen
go.
to the article.
Newark Cardinal
Yeah,
asks Americans to voluntarily forego right to guns.
Oh, I wonder if this was made by 11 Labs, this audio.
Maybe.
New York, amid a mounting debate in America over the constitutionality of gun control, Cardinal Joseph Tobin of Newark has entered the fray with a different argument, that people should voluntarily forego their Second Amendment rights for the betterment of society. I honestly believe it is the best
Six is
thing
going to
we
have a
can
field
do
day
to
of this
change the
one.
culture of
He is like, this type of shit is like, we get the heretics in our fucking site, and then we turn the guns on us and go bang. This is the type of shit we're dealing with. That's what happens when lions are led by sheep.
violence that threatens us today, Tobin said. Let's voluntarily set aside our rights in order to witness the truth that only peace and never violence is the way to build a free society that is lived concretely in our homes, our neighborhoods, our communities, our nation, and our
Minister's house.
Yeah, citation needed, pal. And we have good scientific evidence to show that this is not the case. No, sir.
No, he needs to listen to some Sabaton and learn about the Last Stand. When the let's see, no, we'll play it. We'll play it here. Give me 1 second. Keep playing it. Keep playing it, Luke.
world, he said. Tobin made the plea in a recent letter, pray for an end to all instances of violence, where he calls on community leaders and Catholic bishops, himself included, to call for a synodal effort to actively resist gun violence. He proposed a threefold process that includes prayer and work.
Of course, this is just one man, right? It's not like there's a large group yet.
Just one man, but he's a cardinal. He's a VIP.
Mm-hmm.
And voluntary self-restraint from the Second Amendment. The letter, published May 26th, is the latest call to action amid a spate of mass shootings in recent months. May 30th marked the 150th day of 2023, over which time there have been 263 mass shootings, incidents with 4 or more people shot, that have led to 327 deaths. Both figures are records for this early in the year. Memorial Day weekend was especially violent. Nationwide, there were at least 20 mass shootings that left.
We don't care. We don't care. We don't care how many people die. You know, the correct response to gun control grabbers who tell you how many children have to die, you know what the correct response is, Luke?
What?
All of them. How many people have to die before you give up your guns? All of them. That's the correct response. And to put this in perspective, this is one of the reasons I like Sabaton. Play it, Luke.
And at least 80 more injured.
No. It's in the link. Here we go. This is why you keep your Second Amendment rights. You could play it start it at, I would say, 15 seconds in.
50 seconds in?
Yep. Play it.
Here we go.
So, again, for the context, this is about the sacking of Rome. All right, and this is when the Protestant forces were coming to basically, sack Rome, because they were. It's a long story, but basically, play it, Luke. That's exactly what happened. The Swiss Guard were defending the Pope to make his retreat out of the Roman city, out of the Vatican. So that way, basically the church can continue, right? And they laid down their lives. Now, this motherfucker This fat piece of shit, which probably looks like he's a fucking Mick. This fat bastard. He wants us to give up our weaponry. The same weaponry that would be used to lay down our lives to defend the fucking church. Not just the church, but any foreign invader. He doesn't get it. You know?
And even Lutheran satire goes on for this.
Dude, how could I reject it if I've never even heard of it?
Come on, Frank, let's be honest. The only reason you're calling for a ban on all weapons is because you don't have any armies left to wield them anymore.
That's not true.
Oh, I bet it is, though. I bet if you regained some of the political power you've lost throughout centuries of secularization, you'd change your tune about war and weapons right quick.
But yeah, some of them might. I mean, this is where the Catholic Church is just wrong. You're incorrect. You are in error. You don't fucking give up your weapons. Christ even said, if you do not own a sword, sell your cloak and buy one. These heretics, for all the talk about, the SJWs infiltrating Christianity, this shit is also happening every so often, and it has to be stopped. So, I'm sorry, Cardinal, but you better fly like a bird because you aren't welcome here. That's what I would say to him. Anyhow, let's keep moving on to something else. Okie dokie. Speaking of heretics, okay. This will be something we could play. Let's do this one first. We're going to talk about an old friend from the channel that I don't play him enough, but that's because he keeps deleting his videos.
Or live form, or just keeps deleting them.
He just keeps deleting them and re-uploading them. That way he could gain the algorithm. He has such a big enough content. Here we go. God is the devil.
Is actually the devil. What if the...
he's gone full Gnostic.
He's gone full Gnostic, Luke. Except this way he's controlled it so he has his own little cult. Keep going.
Here we go.
very foundations of Christianity was built on a shocking secret that the church doesn't want you to know. Marcion, the man who compiled the world's first Bible, believed that the God worshipped by the church today is actually an evil being that's enslaving humanity and will also...
Gnosticism.
It's Gnosticism, and at the same time, is it a Bible in name only? Is it the Septuagint? Is it like the Old Testament? Or what is the canon of that Bible? Just because you make a Bible doesn't mean we have to follow it. So I would actually have to look into this Marcion figure. Keep going.
Also discovered that Jesus himself reveals that God is the devil in the banned Gospel of Judas. Is this actually true, and has the world been deceived into worshiping an evil being?
No.
No, we have not. And that's Gnostic commie talk coming from you. Keep going.
We're going to find out right now. First, make sure you like and subscribe, as I'll be releasing more hidden knowledge on my channel that you won't find anywhere else. And if you ever felt like
Shut
you've
up,
learned
it's junk
something
data. It's Gnostic junk food. It's Gnostic junk food is what you're dealing with. Oh, you're so special. So Marcion of Sinope?
Sinope, I guess.
Sinope. Let's see. What did he do? Early church fathers such as Justin Martyr denounced Marcion as a heretic. Oh, so you're dealing with a heretic. So you're dealing with somebody who is a heretic. He considered himself a follower of the Paul, the apostle, whom believed to have been the only true apostle of Jesus Christ. Well, there you go. He created he had this doctrine of Marcionism. So you can't follow Peter, you can't follow Mary, you can't follow Simon or any of that and the rest of them. You know, you're not allowed to follow them. You can only follow St. Paul. So he's a Marcion.
The study of Hebrew scriptures, along with receiving writings of the nascent church, led Marcion to conclude that many of the teachings of Jesus were incompatible with the actions of Yahweh, characterized by the belligerent God of the Hebrew Bible. Marcion responded by developing a diathetic system of belief about year 144. The notion of two gods, a higher transcendent one and the lower one of the creator and ruler of the world, allowed Marcion to reconcile his perceived contradictions between Christianity, Old Covenant theology, and the gospel message. That doesn't help. This is the idea that Jesus was a created thing. Like, he could use those verses and suggest that Jesus was the first created thing, and then that created thing went to create everything else.
And he also created the evil god, right? Yep.
Right.
It all breaks down when you start using your noodle instead of using the freaking the pipe. Put the put the LSD crack pipe down, and you'll be fine.
But here it is.
Keep
According to Macron, the god of the Old Testament, whom he called the Demiurge, there it is, the creator of the material universe, is jealous tribal deity of the Jews, whose laws respected legalistic reciprocal justice, whose punishments mankind in his sins through suffering and death. In contrast to Jesus, God that Jesus professed is altogether a different being. No, it's not.
No, he's not.
We've never had this contradiction before.
It's not a contradiction. God could do whatever the hell he wants, and you get to look at the other way. And by the way, it's never rape when God does it. Yeah, I'll say I fucking said it. Keep going. It's never rape when God does it, because God can't rape. He always gets consent.
But he can't rape.
He can't. Well, he can't.
But if he can't rape, then it's technically impossible. It's like making a square circle.
Exactly. When you start attributing human characteristics to the Almighty, you start getting into like weird, like logical fallacies and shit. Keep going.
My work, support on Patreon to get access to the join button right below this video. Before we discover the dark truth about God that Jesus reveals in the banned Gospel of Judas, we have to know something about
banned Gospel of Judas. Is it ever considered?
It was never considered. It was just fan fiction. It was Gnostic fan fiction. Keep going.
Marcion and the world's first Bible. So who was Marcion? Marcion was a Christian theologian who lived in the 2nd century. He was the son of a bishop and was deeply involved in the early Christian church. But as he studied the scriptures, he began to have doubts about the God he had been taught to worship. Marcion came to believe that the God described in scripture was not the loving, merciful God that Jesus spoke of. Instead, he believed that the creator God was actually an evil deity who sought to keep humanity in bondage. And you can't blame him because
he was an archonic oppressor, man. He was an archonic oppressor.
I shouldn't stop here. Let me see.
Think about it. God is described as drowning the entire world except for Noah and his family, killing the firstborn children of Egypt, and accepting a burnt virgin sacrifice, among a lot of other things. Now, does that sound...
And that's a problem because...
Wait, when did God ask for a burnt virgin sacrifice?
The king promised he would sacrifice the first thing that came through his door.
Oh, so he basically sacrificed a virgin. Okay. All right. Well, then that's on the king, then. That's on the king. God accepted it.
A loving God to you. Of course not. That kind of behavior is the exact opposite of what Jesus teaches, like love thy neighbor as thyself. So Marcion
But there's a specific context to that after his death and resurrection, you know.
Yeah. Tell us the context.
Everyone who's not under the blood of Christ is going to be held accountable to that horrible God that you hate, that you think is not completely contrasted by that.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Or are they just going to suffer the natural consequences of being in apostasy? Like real talk.
Well, hell and damnation await them, because if you're not under the blood of Christ, you're under the wrath of God.
Well, you also have the mercy of nature. You don't have God working with you. You have one working against you. You have nature even working against you.
I know Bill Clinton doesn't look his best, but he can still use nature to his advantage whenever he can.
How many action figures that were sold in Europe, and were still preserved that you find at Goodwill, right? So I'm talking about what we would consider happenstance and luck, things that are not materially not measurable by the scientific method. They're flukes of nature, if you will. Shit like that is when I say the God is on our side. When like the wind quite literally changes direction in our favor on the battlefield. That's what I'm thinking about. Shit that you cannot, like, you can see it and you know it exists because you know what wind is, and you know it exists because you know what collectibles are. But the chances of it happening just right at this particular time and this particular place, that's meaningful to me. And to me, the pagan doesn't have that except in a junky type of sense, right?
Concluded that the creator God was actually an evil entity who ruled the world with judgment and violence that kept humanity in a state of submission and slavery. But in contrast, Marcion saw Jesus as a messenger from a completely different God, a higher God who provided an escape from the cruel world created by the evil creator God. And at the end of this video, we will see exactly who that higher God is. Historian.
Yep, here we go. It's the Gnostic appeal.
And then we have the History Channel, which if I get hit by the History Channel this time for this shit, I'm going to sue. Keep going.
He came from a different God, previously unknown God, whom was Mark. Yeah, but he's not a trustworthy source, but higher spiritual.
No, he's not. He's not a
Seems strange
trustworthy
to us
source.
today, the fact that the creator God is evil, but that's because the world has been conditioned throughout generations to believe that the creator God is good. But
Also, most people haven't been informed Gnosticism. That's another problem.
Yeah, so they're like, wow, these new Gnostic Bibles? Wow, let's read it. What does it have to say?
the idea that the creator God is evil was actually very compelling in early Christianity. Bart Ehrman
Because Gnosticism predates Christianity.
Gnosticism is the tradition.
Yes.
Just keep that in mind.
said Marcion had a huge following in some parts of the Christian world at the end of the 2nd century. There were apparently more Marcionites than other kinds of Christian.
So Arianism.
Yeah, the Icelandic death metal guy is hanging out with the Arianism. He's promoting Arianism.
World was a battleground between the evil creator God and the higher loving God. Now, Marcion's followers, known as Marcionites.
Is there anything in the Old Testament that indicates this?
No, it doesn't. They just don't like the fact that what Jesus Christ is totally different than he's different in tone. Let's say there's that old saying, the Old Testament God versus the New Testament God, right? The virgin New Testament God versus the Chad Old Testament God, the one that actually summoned bears when they insulted you.
Oh yeah,
when they insult your prophets, he summons bears. Triple X says, is the George Floyd monument struck by lightning an example? Yes. There, especially given that is actually a very good point. That is, I would say that is a perfect example.
Did the lightning actually cause the monument to fall apart, or was that something else?
I believe it was. Well, again, you weren't there to see it, but actually, we'll look into that. Keep playing it, Luke.
And they embraced pacifism, and women held high leadership roles within the community, which was a practice that was very progressive for the time. Now, not only was
progressive for the time, like that means anything.
Well, that's another thing you have to understand, that these Gnostics and these leftists are very, very tight knit with each other. So they will inject identitarian, like feminist politics, like racial politics into it, right? So like all the Gnostics were like hippies, man, and then the man basically like Christianity sold out, man. And now if you join the Catholic Church and you're part of the Mass, you're part of working for your archonic oppressor demiurge, man. That's what you're dealing with.
Of Christianity extremely popular, but he actually compiled the world's first canon of the Bible. In an attempt to distance the evil creator God from Jesus and the higher God, Marcion compiled...
Marcion can. I'd love to find this.
Yeah, here we go.
A collection of scriptures, which became the first Christian canon. His canon, or Bible, had only 11 books in 2 parts. The Evangelicon, a shorter version of the Gospel of Luke, and the Apostolicon, 10 letters written by Paul the Apostle, that were also a bit shorter than the ones that we know today. Now think about it, the world's first Bible was actually created to support the idea that the creator God was evil and that Jesus was from a higher God. Marcionism spread fast, and it had a big...
Or he just took all the copies he had and made his own version. That's not his motivation.
Here we go. This is an example of a miracle. I would say, like an actual. I say miracle. I'm using that term as a working term. Okay, you can't scientifically test it. If you want to see it as fanciful or not, it happened. This is a miracle.
What's this?
This.
Something that catches your eye is behind you. The north end of Toledo.
Tremaine Mitchell runs Summit Street, the intersection range all the time. When he gets here, he knows he's home. But instead of this catching his eye Tuesday, it was this. The George Floyd mural, painted on the side of the old Mugshots bar, crumbled into a pile.
Right before that storm hit, I just pulled my... It wasn't down. I would have noticed it right away.
I don't know if I would call it a miracle, but I would say it was a wonderful coincidence of nature that God would allow it.
well, that's.
I say if God didn't want it to happen, He wouldn't have allowed it to happen.
Yep. Yeah. Well, even then, that's kind of iffy, because then you can have the SJW says God allowed me to get raped and shit like that, and it'd just be like a talking point. She didn't actually get raped.
Your point being.
Well, maybe you should stop being a harlot and stop being a whore and stop hanging out with the pagans who would probably rape you. Just saying.
Anyway,
Following, the Marcionites' commitment to pacifism and equality for women was ahead of its time. But as the Marcionite movement gained momentum, it also attracted the attention of the early Christian church. Church leaders like Tertullian and Irenaeus spoke out against Marcion and his teachings, labeling him...
You mean the people who are following the disciples?
Yeah, the people who are actually following the disciples, not just Paul, right?
Right.
Because I don't think fucking Morg Sephiroth actually brought up the fact that they were only following the Marcians were only following Paul. They weren't following everybody. They weren't following Peter and the rest of them. Keep going.
Against Marcion and his teachings, labeling him heretic. They argued that the ideas that Marcion preached were dangerous and misguided. Saint Polycarp met Marcion at Rome and is said to have called Marcion the firstborn of Satan. Irenaeus in his work...
He's probably not wrong.
Irenaeus, let's see what he has to say.
Against heresies writes, Marcion declares God to be the author of evils and to take delight in war. But Jesus, being derived from that Father who is above the God that made the world, was manifested in the form of a man. Ultimately, the early Christian church declared Marcionism a heresy and his followers were persecuted and forced to go underground, while Marcion's works were burned. But the truth is, there were actually many Christian movements and books that declared the creator of the world as evil and said that Jesus came from a higher God. In fact, Jesus says...
Was this before the Nicaea?
I believe it was. I absolutely believe it was. So, this is basically early Christianity, which a lot of these leftists like to just rip off. So that way they could basically have their personal Jesus, quite literally in this regard. I know he has his personal Jesus.
Exactly this in the banned Gospel of Judas. Now, this long-lost gospel was discovered in the 1970s, and in the Gospel of Judas, Jesus reveals to Judas that the Creator God is indeed evil. Jesus teaches that he himself comes from a true higher God, who is the source of all true knowledge, love, and goodness.
So he wasn't following the Jewish God.
He wasn't following the Jewish God. He was following somebody else, right?
But wouldn't the Jews have put him to death for that reason? I mean, he is a Jew.
Well, then it would actually be interesting to see, like when I think the Pharisees called him out for hanging out with Beelzebub, right? Or doing miracles in the name of Beelzebub. That actually might have some weight to it, wouldn't it? See what happens when you allow the Gnostics to just run rampant in your community. You gotta kick them out. You gotta persecute them.
Jesus said, "Come that I may teach you about secrets no person has ever seen, for there exists a great and boundless realm, whose extent no generation of angels has seen, in which there is a great invisible spirit, which no eye of an angel has ever seen, no thought of the heart has ever comprehended, and it was never called by any name." This quote from the Gospel of Judas emphasizes the existence of a higher, hidden God, who is far removed from the cruel and vengeful Creator God. Now,
but is it true? Is the book of the Gospel of Joseph true? Is that true?
No, it's not true.
Another striking aspect of the Gospel of Judas is the portrayal of Jesus' disciples as evil and not understanding his teachings.
That's in the Bible already. I mean, Peter's willing to die and kill for Jesus, and no one really understands. And people are always like wondering, okay, what is Jesus talking about? Because they're not getting the metaphors.
Right.
I mean, that's not a unique thing to Judas.
Yeah.
Disciples
it's insane.
Frequently depicted as struggling to grasp the profound and hidden truths that Jesus shares with them.
And where is that not in the New Testament? That's the Gospels. That's all there.
Yeah, well, here's the problem. He's basically saying that this was the New Testament is false consciousness, man. Wanting to be a Marcion is what you should have wanted. That's what he's saying.
And Jesus reveals that he is not from the God that the disciples worship, but from a different God entirely.
But that's where they got their God. But wait, they're following Jesus. So where's Jesus? They getting this idea from?
So basically, the idea is that Jesus Christ, they didn't follow Jesus because they thought he was the Son of God. They're following him because they basically were worshiping the demiurge.
So let me see if I get this straight. Jesus shows up on the scene, and they get the apostles. But the apostle, when Jesus dies, they don't go say Jesus is risen. They go on. No. But Jesus is Jesus risen now, or is Jesus not risen? Is because where point did this diverge? When did this happen?
This is supposed to happen when he's still alive on Earth.
Yeah.
Right. So this is right before the passion of the Christ, so to speak.
Right. So
right before he gets stuck in the Garden of Eden.
So when Jesus died, and I guess he didn't rise again, the apostles made up the idea that he rose and that he is the Son of God, the fulfillment of the Old Testament, and that's just it.
Pretty much.
This is so much. I'm trying to think about this, and that's a problem.
Don't think about it. You can't reason with these people.
Judas says the disciples.
I recently found a video that summarizes the game world of this manga story of Trigun, which is so crazy and insane. And the answer that the author himself said when people met things they didn't understand, he said, "Oh, it's okay, don't think about it." Even the creator's like, don't think about it.
Don't think about it. Don't think about, like, you don't need to be explained what a flux capacitor is. Just accept it. You don't need to know how the Millennium Falcon works. Just accept it.
Master, why are you laughing at our prayer? He answered and said to them, I'm not laughing at you. You're not doing this because you want to, because through this your God will be praised. They said, Master, you are the Son of our God. Jesus said to them, how do you know me? Truly, I say to you, no generation of the people among you will know me. When his disciples heard this, they started to get angry and furious and started to curse him in their hearts. But when Jesus noticed their ignorance, he said to them, why are you letting your anger trouble you? Has your God within you and his stars become angry with your souls? Now,
wait, his disciples are turning on Jesus, and Jesus is calling them out?
What? Was why that follow St. Paul, don't you know? Because Paul took the red pill. He's not one of those blue-pilled bastard fucking people.
But Paul is not even in the story yet.
Well, again, I guess Marcion accepts the idea that Paul's persecuting the Christians, rightfully so. Then, right? So why would Jesus show up to him, right?
Right.
Notice that Jesus refers to the God they worship as your God, and implies that they don't know about the God that he really comes from, while the other disciples are
they're his disciples. Shouldn't he be telling them this? Are they learning from? Are they not disciples to Jesus? Learning at him, learning about him. Did they not know this?
Like they wouldn't become. He wouldn't have many disciples then, would he?
Yes. Like the people who walked away were the ones who didn't stay, and the ones who stayed were his disciples.
Yeah. So we're supposed to believe that not only was Jesus preaching against the Jewish God Yahweh, but he was trying to inject a new religion into the world at the time. And I think to myself, no, that doesn't make any sense, because the Jews were occupied at that time by the Romans, who had a bunch of fucking wonderful deities you can go talk to. Aphrodite personally is mine. Grab that, spank that ass personally. But again, there was plenty of gods out there that they could have worshipped. I'm sure there were Jews that converted to like paganism in some regards, or Greek Gnosticism. But this shit is this doesn't make sense. Why would anyone want to follow Jesus?
I mean, they would have rightfully seen it if that was what Jesus was teaching. They would have seen him as a heretic. The Jews would easily have seen him as a heretic. Like, yeah, he's a heretic. We shouldn't be listening to him. But they want him gone because too many Jews were listening to him because it resonated too well with what they're teaching about the Messiah. That's why.
Yeah.
Why do you think they were scared of him? And also because they didn't want to shake up Rome, because there are too many anti-Roman Jews, zealots wanting to use Jesus as a segue for their political move. And so there's a lot of push and pull between this guy's causing trouble for us, and he's also leading people away from us. And so it's kind of hard to say.
Well, here's what's interesting about that. Do you know what archon means, right?
Archon.
In Greek. Archon.
Archon.
Archon means ruler in Greek. The demiurge is just a term that they use. I think it doesn't mean God. Let me see if I can find it here. Archon is each of the 9 chief magistrates of ancient Athens. But also, what is Archon God? Let's see if I can find it. Narcissism. Here we go. So archons are in Gnosticism religions closely related to it. The builders of the physical universe among the Archononics, Archonani, I don't know. The Ophites, the Sethians, and the writings of the Nag Hammadi Library. The Archons are the rulers, each related to one of the 7 planets. They prevent souls from leaving the material realm. The political connotation of their name reflects the rejection of the governmental system as flawed without change or true salvation. So basically, Archon means ruler.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're really talking about is overthrowing your oppressive rulers. So this is where they start turning Jesus into a fucking commie, right?
So
where they start trying to overthrow the system.
Is he going to invoke a Council of Nicaea in this, I wonder?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Struggling to understand what Jesus is saying, Judas is portrayed as having a deeper understanding of Jesus, and this special insight sets Judas apart from the other disciples.
Which is why he kills him.
He kills himself.
He
kills himself.
He conspires with the Jews to have Jesus killed. Were the disciples in on this? What?
That's a different timeline. That's not canon.
I know who you are and where you come from. You've come from the immortal realm of Barbelo, and I'm not worthy to utter the name.
What?
Barbelo?
What
the fuck that is? What is this?
Look up Barbello.
What is this, Luke?
Barbello. What is that? Barbello. First one appearing. Protophes. The second highest subanon is called the Great and Perfect Mind. What is this? Refers to the first incantation of God in several forms of Gnostic cosmology. Oh, there we go. Barbello is often depicted as a supreme female principle, the single passive ascent of the creation and in the manifoldness. Oh, there. Okay,
Gnostics, dude. He's gonna mention it.
Then Jesus, knowing that he was thinking about.
I mean, it's in the Gnosticism Britannica. Britannica, it's
there,
here.
Yep, the fucking Gnostics, dude. Can't trust them.
Gods and Demons Wiki.
Gods and Demons. There you go, Barbello.
Exalted said to him, "Come away from the others, and I'll tell you the mysteries of the kingdom." Here that we see that Jesus is implying that he's from another realm and another God entirely, a God completely different from the evil creator God. But the question is, could Marcion, the creator of the first Christian canon, and banned books like the Gospel of Judas be right? Is God actually the devil? The truth is actually much deeper than that, because the truth is that the evil creator God doesn't actually exist, but the idea of it has been used as a means to enslave humanity. The idea of a wrathful...
Wait.
Is he gonna go full freaking circle and realize that a lot of the shit is bullshit?
Wait, no, he's saying that the God of the Bible is a fiction designed to distract people from the true God.
Right.
So there is no demiurge?
I guess we don't have to overthrow our archonic oppressors.
And well, there are the archonic oppressors, the people who are manipulating. Like, you could say that the demiurge is a god invented by people to control people, like humans, from control or knowing the one true God. So we're not fighting against we're not fighting against demons or principalities. We're fighting against just people. Not against people. Oh, it's against
just people. So it's a meme war.
Creator God
it literally is
potent and powerful tool for maintaining control over the masses, and by instilling fear into the hearts of humanity, religious institutions have been able to manipulate and direct the actions of their followers, often for their own gain. And this fear-based control has been used to justify wars, persecutions, and countless atrocities throughout history. This story.
Same old religion. Oh,
Seneca! No, Seneca! No, come on.
What happened?
Just play it.
Philosopher Seneca the Younger said, "Religion is regarded by the common people as true, by the wise as false, and by the rulers as useful." Rulers and religious institutions can easily use the idea of an angry and vengeful God to maintain power and control over their followers. If the idea of an evil creator God has been used to enslave humanity, what does this mean for our liberation? Well, by recognizing the manipulation and lies behind these fear-based beliefs and religions...
Implying you're in chains. Implying you're in chains. See, in order to be liberated, you have to be in you have to be in bondage, right?
Yeah, this is why people say that Marx is Gnosticism for the modern age. Like,
it is.
We're free, but in chains everywhere. It's not like we're horrible, evil people. That could never be the case.
Of dogma and discover the truth that's already within us. The truth is that we are divine. Who is the higher God? We are that higher God. If you want to know more, check out this video.
And in order to now that we know that we are the higher God, Luke, we're gonna show it, and we're gonna do it by healing the rift and the power polarity, how masculine and feminine energy shape us. Here we go. This will be the final one we do for tonight, because honestly, it's kind of a short week. Not much to talk about, honestly. A lot of this stuff what we're dealing with now is just drama. Like, I don't follow enough of these fucking conservative commentators or even liberal commentators because I just don't care.
How nice is it that we're all can complain about is like media, because Little Mermaid came out, Spider-Man came out, and like we're just going back to like just complaining about like artwork again. Especially in a lot of ways, we're in the middle of Pride Month, so we'll see how that plays out.
Well, yeah, and some point I've heard, the Pride Month is actually Let me just say this: the conservatives are talking up to Pride Month way more than they ought to be. They really ought to. But every so often you get shit like this that reminds you why Pride Month is very much a heresy and why it needs to go away. Play it, Luke.
Hey, what is this? What is this?
Know ye not that ye are gods? Better get some popcorn ready. This one's going to be pretty long. What we're going to be talking about today is something that will be very important in the next few lessons.
Oh, ancient spirit science from 11 years ago.
An ancient spirit. I hate to be the guy who says that he hasn't posted enough, so we're going to have to go through his older shit. Let's go.
The topic is male and female energy. From there, we'll be talking about left brain and right brain, then to new children, and bring it full circle. Ready?
The new children. He's fucking extra projected out here.
Male energy
He's
is
the.
focused, and female energy creative and random.
This is such a cult. This is really a cult nonsense. This trying
It
to
is.
make all these parallels, all these levels, and all these nuances, which makes people go insane. Like when Christopher Lee said, "You'll not just lose your mind, you'll lose your soul." This is what he was talking about.
Yeah, we start seeing patterns. It'll make you schizophrenic, won't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, you know, the chalice is the womb, and the knife has the dick, and like it turns out the dick is just a penis. Is not even a penis, but it's like a fucking blade.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you're like, how does this work? How like it's religion for junkies and whores. Like whores would understand this shit better than the average academic. But you know, because we're in lefty academia, this shit is allowed to just flourish.
Why do you think it's been around for so long?
Well, because the boomers let it into the culture. They gave the Gnostics a fucking platform, and you don't platform Gnostics. They can never be proven wrong. Look at Jordan Peterson.
And I was actually having a conversation, the difference between being lazy and being intelligent, and not in a derogatory sense, because being intelligent means you know how the world works, and you know that doesn't work in your favor, and you have to accept that fact.
Exactly, you know. Keep going.
And people would rather be lazy rather than intelligent.
Yep, and so they'd rather have people like spirit science tell them how the world is.
Neither of them is greater nor weaker than the other, and both can be extremely powerful when. Female energy is a land of unbridled possibilities, potential, and affecting the universe from within. Focused male energy takes direct roads from point A to point B. This energy can be as strong as a tank, accomplishing tasks and going where it needs to go with precision and without distraction.
And all these assumptions, aren't they culturally informed? Like, where are they coming from?
They're coming from the pagan world, the Greeks. I would say the Greeks. My money's on the Greeks.
The important thing to know about this energy isn't how they move. I'm going to use some super basic sacred geometry to demonstrate this. This is the Fibonacci spiral. We're going to be talking a lot more about it when we dive into the topic.
So this is a basic Fibonacci. This is basic sacred geometry. He pulls out the Fibonacci spiral, Luke. Do you know what the Fibonacci sequence is?
What was the principle of it?
It's the golden rule. It's the golden ratio, I believe.
A golden bow, is that what it's called? Or is that something else?
Golden ratio. It's basically it's how we measure beauty, supposedly.
Oh yeah.
It's like a mathematical representation of beauty.
Oh, yeah, the perfect. Yeah, it's in the. It was used in DuckGo Visits Mathmagic Land, and all the images had that golden rectangle everywhere.
Yep.
Starts at 1 and flows outward forever in a very specific way, present in all life everywhere. Male energy flows through the spiral. It goes from base point to point. Here. It doesn't curve. It just goes straight where it needs to be. Female energy, however, would flow in the actual spiral, around, going in and around outside all the lines, but still getting to the same or similar.
But why is this calculation from?
From wherever it. I don't know. But maybe it's from Pythagoras for all we fucking know. Yeah, sacred. Everything is math. Pythagoras, sure. Everything can be math.
This is a graphic representation of how it flows, but it also acts in the same way. From this understanding, you can see how we use these energies in our lives. The difference between driving straight to work and being on schedule all the time, taking the scenic route because it's a more pleasant ride, even if it means being late.
You don't want to be late.
You don't want to be late, Dick. You have to be on like I take the scenic route, but I take this back street specifically because I don't want to freaking have to deal with in my car overheating or something like that. And at the same time, it's more economical. I get better mileage, town, so to speak. Keep going.
The main road is taking the straight road might not be the best road, especially on rush hour.
Yeah, exactly. Freaking.
It's baking a cake strictly by what it says in the cookbook and putting it together with what just feels right. Getting that promotion.
That could be a bad idea.
That's a bad idea.
It could be a very bad idea.
Yeah.
Artist, getting that promotion for coming up with the best ideas. Here's a relatable example. The difference between Inception and Sucker Punch. Both about dreams, but one of them being the masculine story of professional men just doing their no-nonsense work, trying to get the job done, and the other being the feminine story that was creative and random and...
But the image but there were two different movies entirely. Like one's like an attempt to manipulate. Well, one is actually using that power to manipulate one person, and this is just a metaphor for trying to make the situation more interesting than it actually was.
Yeah, it was them basically disassociating themselves from the fact that they were all in a psych ward, and her whole family was going to be, she was going to lose her estate to her evil uncle, and they were going to have her lobotomized, right?
Yeah, which basically became a story of sacrifice for someone else because there was no There was no revenge. There's no real catharsis other than just one life escaping.
Yeah, and of course, I just love the fact that we have the anime schoolgirl in the trenches of fucking Patchendale. That would be something to be seen right there.
That is a very good anime scenario.
It really is, and I think Girls on Panzer did it at one point. I don't know. Keep going.
According to many, didn't make much sense. Both male and female energy, like chakras, have their own traits. Male energy is analytical, strategic, and practical. However, when male energy is constricted, it is very blundering.
Did male energy make that movie or not?
Male energy is just a giant dick. It goes in one direction, and then pussy goes multiple directions. It squirts out. What? Oh, no. That's why you have to understand these people. These people are fucking pagans, and therefore they're gonna talk like children, and you have to treat them like children.
It's like that one scene from Disenchanted. No one knows anything for certain, but if I talk with confidence, you dolts will believe anything I say.
Yes, they will.
Confrontational. What tends to occur is not seeing all sides of a situation, or not being open to any other possibility other than the one being pursued. You can see a lot of that in today's society. Most commonly, we call it being closed-minded. Female energy, on the other hand, moves in curves. It does not stay inside.
The feminine difference, like the feminist question, science. Here we go.
Yep. This is how they get into it. Because once you let the Gnostics in, you let the feminists in. And once you let the feminists in, you let the Marxists in. And you want to let the Marxists in, you have utopians. And now you're basically
they're all in. They're the same person.
Yep. They're all part of the tradition.
Activity and movement and expression and emotion. Do anything and go anywhere. It has trouble sticking to schedule. Constricted, it can get out of its flow, running rampant between emotions and mood swings and ideas.
Female energy emotional.
It has its time of the month, dude. Just saying. The lunar cycle, bro. What are you talking about?
Jumbled and come out as an out-of-control mess. We don't have this widespread issue in today's society, and it has a lot to do with our brain hemisphere. We're going to look at that in a moment. One big difference between the two is that male energy looks at parts, and female energy looks at wholes. Before I go on, I want to make this clear.
Are you sure about that? I'm pretty sure male energy made both of those.
No. Female energy is a whole, and male energy is a fucking rod. It's a giant. It's a Salisbury steak. It's the one that puts the meat on the table. Yeah.
Male and female energy has very little to do with sexual orientation. Like, it's in the mix, but it's not a fundamental part of the energy.
Are you? This is proto stories of the transsexual energy and the transsexual movement.
Well, he did talk about the future children, Luke.
Yourself. For example, if you look at the shape of male and female bodies, men have straighter bodies, women have curvier bodies. We'll probably come back to this in a lesson down the road. Okay,
so that has nothing to do with biology, necessity, not about evolution. No.
Does
evolution count yet?
No, we're not even diving into evolution. Darwin is a racist bigot, don't you know? He doesn't know anything about, like, you want to talk about the fucking, how the Christians reject Darwinism for multiple reasons, but besides how he was eugenicist, these guys will reject Darwin because he was too rational. And that is an issue, but I'm more concerned about the fact he was trying to basically say, oh, we have a pedagogy, and this pedagogy and this particular taxonomy is ahead of everybody else.
Have you ever read Darwin? Have you ever read Origins of what's it called?
The Origin of Species for the Preservation of the Favored Races and Their Struggle to Survive?
Yeah, you've read it, right?
No. I reference it, though.
Yeah, the thing is, it's not really a scientific document. It's just his anecdote. He's just him collecting different anecdotes and inferring observations, but it's not like what people call science.
Well, what do you want? What would be a scientific document in your humble opinion?
Having a hypothesis and doing experimentation.
So he just says, I noticed this, I noticed this, I noticed this, I noticed this. So you basically just have his notes then, huh?
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is actually a kind of argument against Darwin. Like, it's like Berlinski points out, we're not talking about a scientific theory like a physics would. We're talking about anecdotes and a particular point of view.
Yeah.
We have two of them. If you remember what you learned in grade 10 biology, this will be familiar. The left brain is the male energy side of the brain. It is orderly, statistical, logical.
This was not taught in biology.
This was not taught in biology. No, it wasn't.
No,
it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
These things in straight lines, rational, and practical. Right brain is the female energy side of the brain. It is our creative side, a free spirit, action, experience of taste and feeling, movement and art. As is the same with the energy.
It also likes the fruit drinks, apparently.
What's energy?
What's energy?
Yes, what is energy here? Like, energy makes these two different.
Okay.
You cannot put feelings and expressions within boxes. must be felt to be truly experienced. Right brain, too, cannot make sense about how the left brain understands things. Okay, so as a species, we are primarily left-brained. Well, incredibly left-brained. This basically means that as a species, we essentially have a male energy imbalance.
Were we always rational, though? I mean, isn't like
Come on,
making a rational society like a recent idea because of thoughtfulness?
Don't make the male energy compare it to King Kong. Come on.
I mean,
come on.
I mean, when isn't that kind of emotional though? I mean, King Kong took the woman to the top to say, "This is mine. This is mine." This is not.
I don't know what King Kong was doing in that whole movie. I don't know if he even had plans or what. But I'll tell you this, this is looking more like a Simpsons parody of King Kong.
Oh.
And you know the one I'm talking about. Yeah. Keep going.
It is dominant and is on the female side of the brain. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't a bad thing. In fact, it's kind of a blessing in disguise, but we have to talk about some other things first. There's nothing wrong with our female energy. We're just not really using it to potential. Our male energy is really messed up, and that's why we're where we are right now.
This is the feminist question. This is the feminist question science. This is it. That's what this is. Like, the men have dominated everything. We need nuance in the women's perspective.
We need the female perspective. We need to allow the feminine borderline, the magical pixie dream girl to basically start, creating our elixirs and our potions and telling us how to run our lives. That's what this is.
By where we are, I mean the economical, political, financial, religious, nuclear, dolphin, and bee or crisis. For lesson 1, I touched upon how right now the world is a mess in a myriad of areas. A few people commented saying, well, study the financial crisis and study the nuclear crisis and the political crisis. They're all completely separate issues. And this is how the male energy looks at parts. We're realizing now that it's constricting on our point of view. As a whole, all of these issues together are further proof that we don't understand how to be harmonious because our male energy is out of sync with each other and the planet.
Oh, bro.
And therefore you have to accept feminism as the one true religion. And then we could have peaceful space communism, Luke. That's what this is ultimately leading towards, is peaceful space communism.
The feminists will rule the galaxy, and then we will have peace.
Yep.
So let's look at indigo children.
Oh!
Children being born on Earth.
Super psychics? Do psychics even exist? Like actual psychics?
So basically, we're going to have mutants. We're having mutants, is what he's going to say. We're going to have mutants who are psychers. Truly, this is the future.
New children started appearing with different or unusual traits. Numbers began to increase, and today, nearly 100% of all children born in North America are indigo children. So, what are these traits? Let's go over a list developed by Jan Yordi, a play therapist who has been studying and working. As we go over the list, see if any of these sound like you. Maybe strong-willed, independent thinkers prefer to do their own thing rather than comply with authority figures or parents. Have a wisdom and level of awareness and caring beyond their youthful experience. Traditional parenting and discipline strategies don't appear effective with these. Try and force an issue. Power struggle is the typical outcome. Energetically, indigos are vibrating on a much higher frequency, so they can get scrambled by negative energy easier.
But isn't that just the culture telling the kids to be jerks?
This is the type of shit that would have led Christian to be a fucking Gnostic. Like he became a Gnostic on his own, but at the same time, this is basically let your kids, be autistic. Let your kids be, or they're not just kids, right? They're actually really intelligent. That's what that is. It's them basically trying to say to the world that my kid's super special. He's indigo children. He's above average. Oh yeah, sure, he's retarded and he has Asperger's and shit. But hey, don't care. That just means he knows better. He's operating on a higher frequency, don't you know?
Don't worry, he's in the spirit of George Carlin. He's minimally exceptional.
He's minimally exceptional, indeed.
Emotionally, they can be very reactive and make problems with anxieties, depression, or temper rages if not energetically balanced.
Facts.
Creative right-brain thinkers may struggle to learn in a traditional left-brain school system. Often, indigos are diagnosed as having ADHD. They appear impulsive. This is because their brain can process information faster, and they require movement to help keep them focused. Indigos are very intuitive, often psychic, and may know things that seem unexpected.
Have you given these kids IQ tests? Like actual IQ tests?
That won't work, Luke. Because Neil Patrick Harris is running the IQ test, and he already knows these people are afraid. They're afraid. He's done his homework. He was a psycher in I want to say Starship Troopers. He actually was a psychic, so he knows how to test these young children.
Oh yeah, that was such a weird thing to have in that story, like psychics.
They just had it because they had to like get their 40K quota, so to speak.
They have more problems with food or environmental sensitivity since they're finely tuned. Needs are not met. These children appear self-centered and demanding, although this is not their true nature. Children have incredible gifts and potential. And
But this is like a what was that Penn and Teller episode about fortune tellers, or like you have these broad generalizations that can apply to virtually anybody at any moment?
Well, these are the SJW.
Oh, yeah, astrology. That's astrology. That's it.
These are the SJWs. These people are the SJWs that he's referring to.
Shut down when not properly nurtured. What's causing this? Well, for one, there are 2 new DNA blocks being activated with kids. They are microcephalin and ASBM. Both of these blocks are designed to regulate brain growth, giving the kids a broader spectrum of thinking and a newer way of learning. Because of this, the average IQ of an indigo child is about 140, which is 40 to 50 points higher than the average IQ.
Yeah, this is like the Flynn effect argument that we're like everyone's becoming more intelligent. Like, no, we're becoming less intelligent.
No, and even if we become higher IQ, that doesn't mean shit. It just means you notice patterns more often than not. Doesn't mean you could express yourself or even get the message out. I mean, look at me, right? I have 346 subscribers. I would love to get to 500 at some point. Not even 5,000 or 5 million. It's just 500. And I don't know if Widgetski's going to let that happen, or if YouTube. Like, I would rather have people downvote me than upvote me, because at least that way I know I did something right or wrong, and there's actual audience engagement. But we don't get that, do we? Keep going.
We're just learning now that our school system's methods of teaching are becoming outdated. It's because our kids are changing. We're going to look at the broader spectrum of why this is happening in a moment. For now, let's move on to the badassery that is super psychics. These kids are hardcore. They can do anything, literally. Some can move solid objects through walls with their minds. Some are blind.
What?
BS.
Bullshit. Where's he getting this shit from?
They can see everything around them from a myriad of different screens in their head.
Surely you can get these. Like, this was 11 years ago. Surely you can get them now.
Like, when they figured this, if it was 11 years ago, where's the update? Where's the update?
See, that was 2012.
I don't think. Fuck. So it was right around the time when 2012 was still a thing. And yeah, you know what I mean, Luke. It's literally the end of the world as we fucking know it.
Oh yeah, that was a thing. That was
a thing. Yeah, it's forgettable, isn't it?
Look at a person and know absolutely everything about a person just from looking at them, including when they'll die. So why?
Could you apply the scientific method?
Citation. What, they have Shimigami eyes?
Document this. Write this down.
They have
on video.
They have Shimigami eyes, Luke. They could see exactly when you're gonna die.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe they made a deal with fucking Ryuk or something, or maybe
do they have death notes?
They might. Who knows?
Haven't we heard about this? You think this would be huge?
Yes.
Well, for one, almost all super psychic children are in China, and almost all of the evidence is hardly ever rendered into English.
Oh, come on.
You're
expecting me to believe that the communist China would not capitalize on this? Really?
This is all propaganda. This is literally them just saying our Chinese boys are fucking better than your boys. That's what it is.
Want to learn more about this? Book China's Super Psychics, Paul Dong and Thomas Raphael is a great starting place.
I'm very curious what he says in his book, like what he documents.
China number one.
Full circle. What on earth do the new children have to do with male and female energy? Isn't it obvious? Indigo children are directly connected to our species' male energy, and super psychics to our female.
So they're the X-Men. Chinese people are the X-Men.
Chinese X-Men. Oh boy.
That was man. They were so optimistic back then. Like, yeah, that never happened.
No, that's not canon anymore, Luke. We don't have that part of the canon. Yeah.
As we grow closer and closer to the planet itself is beginning to change. Essentially, this is happening to balance us out. In one half of the world, indigo children are being. In the other half, super psychic. They're here to help the consciousness of the planet in an incredibly crucial way. There are way more indigo children on the planet than super because it's our male energy that needs to understand. It's through the indigo children and their new way of thinking which is affecting the consciousness of the planet, putting us back onto the harmonious path. As we just learned, to understand things, it takes two to tango. You cannot only understand something by reading about it. You need both sides of the brain to click. In the modern world, things like astral projection and channeling aren't really considered science. One of them is exploring different realms outside of the body. One is communicating with beings of higher consciousness. And yet, because we can only seem to measure it from experience, it doesn't qualify to be legitimate. Because of this left brain constriction, we have lost a major part of what life is about.
Yeah, only a big right-wing brain thinker would think that.
Only a big brain nibba would understand that. No, like the thing that gets me about this, and this is sort of what scares me about the new age, and this is sort of where we're going to wrap it up here, but if your kids are psychic, mine are super psychic, or let's say the Russians are super psychic. So then we start getting into like this imaginative warfare where we start saying we have better magical weapons than you do. Our magical friend, our gods can move mountains and hold the sun in let's say the sky, right? And give the strength of some Jew to destroy the temple of Dagon. But what can your god do? You know, it becomes like it I don't know. It's just weird. Keep going.
What we have is called polarity consciousness. We see everything in two ways: good or bad, hot and cold, right and wrong, religion and science.
Which is how you should see things.
He's going to argue for multipolarity. You watch.
Once again, become harmonious with each other on the planet. We have to learn to understand again from the left brain. When this happens, we move out of polarity consciousness.
Is death bad? Is death good? Is it neutral?
Is death? I would say death is neutral. That's how I look at it. But avoiding death is good.
That's where we're going. That about wraps it up. See you next time.
Fuck off. Oh, that is.
That's what they had.
That's what we had. That's what they took from us, guys. What the fuck is? What is that in the background there?
That's the image he had on his desk. The spiral inside a flat spiral. The curved spiral inside a flat spiral.
Instead of yin yang symbol, essentially.
Yin yang there, yeah. With both the female and the male energies intertwining on the yin yang.
Ah, fuck. Anyhow, Luke, we're gonna end it here. Any final thoughts?
Let me see if I have this right. Ruthless, infamous hatchet man Mordecai Heller is calling me to ask I.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, be good to one another. Take care of one another. Remember saving the